Okay, so this is crafting community connections. And this is me. Let's keep going. Next slide, please. And we've just done our icebreaker, and I hope you felt the ice break, even though there's snow outside. And this is crafting community connections. And as I was given this title, I thought about crafting actions based on the community's aspirations, hope, and desires. And the mere fact that someone had a Juneteenth celebration means that you're listening to the various communities. Community is about hope, it's about possibility, and it's about taking action. And from the video that was shown in the front end, you all are taking action. And then connections must be made with our neighbors. And our neighborhoods include residents, schools, places of worship, libraries, and businesses. I work with communities that want to leave the businesses out, but those businesses can support you as well as you support them. And somebody said, absolutely, amen. I like it when you act like we're in church, because I'm from the South. Let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, so these are some of the words that I think about when I think about communities, and I want you to start thinking about your words. And we've heard them: hope, helping somebody experience the fire, possibilities. We got new young leadership coming ahead, and people clearly see possibilities in that. And then we have the leadership that's been there. We have trust. And when people know that you've heard them, they trust you. And we must have collaboration. And it's clear that that's what you all are doing. And it is so beautiful to see the collaboration between the civic leagues and the city. Let me just say that doesn't happen every place. I am so impressed with the support this city, this organization gives back to the community. This does not happen every place. Let me just tell you that. How we show up. Do we show up for people? And with the examples given, you all do. We must engage with others, and we're going to give you time today to do that in our breakout groups. And then there's got to be action, because other than that, it's just talk. I mean, the cleanup campaigns, the painting in the neighborhoods, in the parks, all of that, people need that. People need places for our children to go, places that feel safe. Next one, please. All right, so for me, this is what 2021 felt like for me in terms of, and this is my craft, I pulled together some pictures. It's my craft and community connections. What Carol can look like. Those pink roses, during the pandemic, my sorority sisters would bring me pink roses. They knew they know I live alone. They wanted to make sure I was happy. People brought me groceries. I took people groceries. And I was talking to some of the people in the city of Norfolk and telling them I was planting a garden, and they sent me an okra seed, and I planted that. You don't know what that meant so much. Something that can seem like such a small act can give people hope. It gave me hope and let me know that I was not alone. And then those lights, that's Jackson, Mississippi, because the one thing that one community wanted more than anything was to light up their neighborhood for Christmas. That gave people hope. And we did all we could to find lights. So that's what those lights stand for right there. And we can go to the next slide, please. So the 3 A's, and you're going to hear a lot about this. You saw the authority, authenticity, and accountability. And I am a coach with the Harwood Institute for Public Innovation. And at Harwood believes in civic faith, which is a philosophy, and Kimberly did a great job of explaining that to you, a philosophy that holds that place in people, community, and shared responsibility is at the heart of everything we do. And the 3 A's are touchstones for thinking about our making intentional daily choices. They must be intentional. They are authority, again, authenticity, and accountability. The 3 A's are critical to the way people turn outward, as they provide a way for people to reflect on and drive their orientation and behaviors that lead to impact and civic faith. Again, intentionality is a big word here that we use. It's got to be intentional what we do, and you have to be turning outward. So if we could have the next slide, please. Turning outward is a mindset. It's how we think. And the community is the focal point for everything we do. The community is our frame of work, our reference. And that's really important. And somebody's going to get stepping forward that book. I know we had a drawing. We will have a drawing and it's by Richard Harwood. He talks about the need to have the communities thinking as the basis for our programs. Next slide, please. Turning outward means listening to those in your community, finding out what matters to them, developing actions based on this knowledge, and being able to provide hope and possibilities. And we know how important it is for us to have hope, for people to have hope, and to believe that things are possible. And I just want you to think about turning outward. Are you turning outward? Just look at that one for a minute. The next slide, please. The 3 A's again, just to point them out. Authority. Who are you talking to? Are you talking to the young people? Are you talking to the seniors? Are you talking to the businesses? Are you talking to those who need support? Who are you talking to in the community? What are their aspirations? Are we reaching everybody in our community, not just a few? Then authenticity. How do we know that people really know that we heard them? And accountability. Do we have realistic expectations? You know, when we put plans in place, and I really want to say, Mike, you know, like when you start planning, and this is to everybody, are these realistic plans or something that's way out there that everybody knows it's not going to happen? So it's really important, because when we make plans and we don't live up to those expectations, people become hopeless. They don't believe in you. They don't believe you going to keep your word. And so that it's so important that we make plans that are realistic and that we can explain these plans, and they're at the heart of what people want. Next slide, please. The 3 A's are a foundation for turning out and being intentional. Intentional meaning being deliberate, and that it's done on purpose, and that this is what you plan to do. The next slide, please. The 3 A's will help you stay turned outward, will help you earn trust, and will help you be more effective. And it's so important, because the world right now is so divisive. People lack trust and don't believe in each other. And in our neighborhoods, we can start building that trust. And the 3 A's, when you have authority, authenticity, and accountability, you help build trust. And I'm going to go through each one. And when we go into the breakout sessions, we're going to do intentionality assignments around each one of the 3 A's. Next slide, please. So authority. I'm going to read this. I know you can read, but I'm just going to go ahead and read it. An individual or entity who has knowledge rooted in the community. And you're going to get this. We're going to send this out to you. So, you know, you're going to get this. It's an understanding of people, their lives, where they live, their aspirations and concerns. And I got to tell you that with all the organizations, after I started doing this work with Harwood, I started using this in the organizations I work with, you know, not just my neighborhood, but in groups and organizations, trying to find out what is it that people really want? What are their aspirations? Just think about it. When somebody, say, Ed, if somebody asks you, what are your aspirations? How does that make you feel when you're asked that question, when somebody actually takes the time to listen to you? Ed, you want to say something, if you don't mind? How does it make you feel when people ask, what are your aspirations? If not, go ahead, yes.
I was trying to unmute. Okay. It makes me feel like I'm valued and like my opinion matters. It makes me feel like I'm important, or what I think is important to other people.
Yes, thank you. And that's the way your neighbors feel. That's the way the people in the community feel. If you don't come with a program that you've already designed, but a program designed around their aspirations. And if you have any questions, any comments, you can put them in the chat, and Raven will let me know what's there. Raven, do we have any questions or comments?
No, the only comment we've had, the presentation must be really good so far. We're asking, someone asked if we would share the PowerPoint after, so.
And yes, we will. Yes, thank you. All right, so let's go to the next one, please. And I actually like somebody driving the PowerPoint. I used to didn't like that because I'm such a control freak, but this is really working well. So I don't have to worry about that. I can worry about what we're talking about. And so I'm being authentic. And that's the next one, authenticity. Words and actions of an individual or entity who reflects the reality of people's lives in the community. So, it's the whole question is that, did you really listen to me? If you listened to me, why didn't you have a Juneteenth event? And see, somebody did have one. I recognize that. It's like, wow, they actually had a Juneteenth. If you listened to me, did you help me with the fire in the building? You knew something was wrong. You knew I needed this. Did you put lights up in the park? Are you listening to me? Are you being authentic? This is demonstrating affection for the community. It shows whether or not you have people's best interests at heart. And so with that, I'm going to call on, let's see, anyone who would like to respond to that. Do people know that you have their best interests at heart? And how do they know that? How are you showing that you're being authentic? Who would like to speak on that? I'm trying to make sure y'all awake and listening to me. Okay, I got a list over here if nobody wants to raise their hand. I'll just pick somebody. Kathy Owen. Kathy, you with us? Kathy?
Well, I'll speak.
You hear me now?
Okay. She's speaking. Okay, go ahead, Kathy. You got off
Sorry,
mute.
I just had to unmute.
I know.
So being authentic, I think kind of following through with what you say, because it shows that what you were saying was real and what you meant.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like one of the best ways to do it, because actions, do speak louder than words.
I love that. Actions speak louder than words. Absolutely. Thank you. And the other person who was going to speak, if Kathy didn't come through, but she got off mute, if you want to go ahead and say something.
Yes, I was gonna basically say the same thing. A lot of things is all about action. It's all about actually doing what you said you're gonna do, and not just talking about it, but being a person of action, more of a person of just speech. Because a lot of broken promises are out there, but if you promise something and you execute on that promise, people see the authenticity in that.
Thank you so much. And then I think Sharon said something in the chat. Let's see if I can even bring that. You talk with people as you encounter them in the community and bring their concerns to leaders. Thank you.
And we have one more person with their hand up, Miss Patricia.
Go ahead, Miss Patricia.
Oh, hi everyone. Yeah, I guess I'm part of the diversity within the diversity of this group, because my organization works hard to bring the authenticity of the culture of the Hispanic and Latinos in the Norfolk area. And the city has been very responsive about assisting with those issues. So all I want to say is to be authentic, and within our cities is to look at the diversity at large and see who are our citizens, and stay authentic to that, and make sure that we are looking to those needs. They're the same needs as our, sister communities, like African American communities, Asian communities. It's just they have a different twist of maybe requirement in language, or other cultural issues that we need to keep in mind. So that was my 2 cents to this.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you also for giving kudos to the city for doing their part. That's important. Thank you. And I know we're at 10. I did get a little message because I asked to be reminded that we need to get started with the breakout room soon. So let's go to accountability. An individual or entity who sets realistic expectations for change and makes progress. And so I need to be realistic in knowing that I need to move a little bit faster so we can get to the breakout rooms, because I like to be held accountable. All right, let's go to the next one, please. So authority, I'm just gonna go through these quickly. You're gonna get these notes. We have community knowledge. We know what matters to people, all right? We use knowledge of the community to guide our work. We don't just do work based on something in our head that we got in school. This got to be based on what the community needs. It's got to be based on Patricia's community, Mike's or Bethany's. You know, we understand the aspirations of the community and we understand their concerns. Next slide, please. Authenticity. Listen to our community. Our actions reflect the reality of our community. They believe we heard them, and they believe we have their best interest at heart. Next slide, please. Accountability. We make realistic expectations. I've said this before, for change and progress. Our actions mean something. And I want my actions to mean something, because you can read that, and we're going to get ready to go to the breakout sessions, because I know that I'm pushing it. I like to keep my promises. So here's the intentionality test. Authority. Could I stand up on the table and talk to people about their community? And you're going to get this. I'm going to just go to the next slide. Okay, this is our first breakout room exercise. It's on authority. When you go in a room, you're going to answer the following question and discuss it in the breakout group. Here's the question. This is the intentionality test for authority. Could I stand up on a table and talk to people about their community, their shared aspirations and concerns, and how they experience their community daily, and would they believe me? Okay, you're going to only have 7 minutes. We're going to come back into the large group, discuss it for 3 minutes, but you will have all this information so you can do it in your leagues. You could do it again some other time. And with that, I'm going to turn it over so that we can go into the breakout rooms, because I know I'm pushing it. All right, so we're back. And I'm thinking that what we should do is just have one person, because of the time, talk about what happened in their group. Any volunteer?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
we had a breakout session, and what we decided was that first you have to listen to people, to their concerns. You then have to address their concerns, and in a way, though, that you're walking the talk. Okay, you could talk all you want, but if you're not taking actions to back up your actions, then they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to trust you. And then in the end, you have to solicit feedback from the people to see whether or not they're satisfied that you have truly addressed their concerns.
Mm-hmm.
And it also includes reaching out across many walls, many organizations, to our city leaders, to other civic organizations, to make sure that you have credibility, not only within your own group, but within many groups.
Thank you so much for sharing. So what we're going to do now, and let me just say that you all as civic leaders can talk about this some other time, but you will at least understand what we're talking about as we go through this. We're going to go to the second breakout group, if you could bring that up, and it's authenticity. We're going to do the same thing, but the question is different. Do I reflect the reality of people's lives, and do they believe I have their best interests at heart, even when we disagree? We had a great discussion. It's clear that this is not enough time for just the way we were going, but we're gonna make this work. And like I said, this doesn't have to be the only time you do this, but these exercises are good exercises to do with your teams. So we're going to go to now. Let me get one feedback from the session. Who would like to speak out? Let us know what happened.
I'll speak up.
All right. Who is that?
My name is Mike Wilson. I'm the gentleman that's on the energy shot. So what happened here is,
all right,
we had a great meeting. And what was discussed was the fact that we all live in diverse communities, and being in a diverse community, everyone has a difference of opinion. But one good thing that Danita, I believe, said, Danetta, was her community had a disagreement in their meeting. But one thing that really inspired her was the fact that no one got disrespectful, that no one got nasty about it. They all agreed to disagree, but they came to a solution, and they're still actively working on the problem. And no one they disagreed without becoming violently disagreeable. And I think that was one of the beautiful things. I think it kind of echoed throughout the whole entire conversation. And one thing that we did say was, we go through, well, me, but everyone else, we go through the community, we listen to the voices of the neighbors, And those are the problems that we take to City Hall. Those are the problems that we take to our elected officials, not just my problem or her problem, but the whole community's issues. And then we take them there. And there was one thing that one of the members of the group said, that her group had not been heard in quite some time. But what we said was, we'll get to know you. And then when we get to know you, it's not just your one voice anymore. Now it's your voice and all of the civic leagues together that can echo your cries. And someone will hear you if we all speak loud enough. I told you I was on an energy shot. You're going to have to mute me eventually.
Mike, you got that energy. So with that, we're going to go to this third breakout room. 3 minutes. Am I living up to the pledges and promises I have made? All right, we're back. And I think we have Scott wants to speak on behalf of one of the groups. Scott, you want to go ahead? Oh, and we got a new term for this. He's our sharer. So Scott, would you like to go ahead and share?
Thank you, Yvonne. I thought a great point was brought up in our group was, you know, not to overpromise or underpromise on what the demands are or the needs are of the community, but at the same time, you know, even if you don't fulfill all of the pledges or promises that you agree to make, you know, as long as genuine effort to resolve some of these tougher problems has been made, then I think you're fulfilling your promise to represent the community as opposed to necessarily solving the issues.
Thank you so much. And let me just say thank you for your rapid participation. It's like speed dating. We went right through these. Hopefully you got the understanding of authority, authenticity, and accountability by these questions. You will get a PDF of the PowerPoint so that this information so that you can continue these discussions. And I just want to see if there are any questions or answers. Questions? No, I have the answers. Any questions that you want to ask me before we go to the very last thing we're doing? Could I have the next slide up, please? I know we're about out of time. So I just want you to experience, even if it's a minute, of what we do with reflections. And this for you to look at these questions, maybe choose one. What do you stand for? What are your aspirations for your community? And what one thing can you do to help connect more to your neighborhood? And I just want like a minute of this. We're going to do it with music so that you can experience something else that you can do in your neighborhoods.